This episode of Horror Movie Talk brought to you by Korug. I love my Korug mattress, and you know why? Because it's so cleverly designed to mimic my own curves with multiple supportive layers of material for a quality sleep surface. Best of all, when you're done with a Korug, it's 100% recyclable. It's got just the right amount of both sink and bounce at only 1% of the cost of other mattresses. Because they cut out the middleman and sell directly to you. And also because it's made of cardboard. Ordering is simple. Order online and it shows up within days on your porch. You just open up the box and inside will be many other boxes. Layer those boxes up until you find your ideal sleep number of boxes. They offer free shipping and returns in US and Canada. And it gets even better because right now, listeners to Horror Movie Talk can get $50 towards select Korug mattresses. You just go to Korug.com and use HMT at checkout. Terms and conditions may apply. You want a cheaper mattress? Korug gives you what you deserve. Hello and welcome to Horror Movie Talk, an opinionated and accidentally funny horror movie review show. Your schlubby hosts each week are Bryce Hanson, the cool collected nihilist, and David Day, a cool guy who's always cool. New theatrical releases always get priority, but we also review older horror movies, both good and horrible. I'm Bryce Hanson.
And I'm...
Fuck. Every time.
And I'm also Bryce Hanson.
Every time I forget to bring up the level.
There's two of you.
All right.
This is the best. This is going to be the best show ever.
So, before we get started, please go to horrormovietalk.com. It's 3 words that are easy to spell all together. horrormovietalk.com. There you'll find links to our social media, and we post new episodes every Wednesday. Each episode has its own post on the website where it has links to skip forward around to different parts of the episode. So check that out. But first and foremost, we got great, sweet content for you. And today is going to be great because we're going to be talking about the reboot of Child's Play. Child's Play 2019.
The reimagining Child's Play. Play with that child.
How a horror movie works is we give out a brief review and our score for the movie. We score on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being a miserable dredge where it makes you angry that you just watched it and was a complete waste of time. 5 being completely average that hits all the expected marks. And 10 being so good that it transcends horror genre boundaries and should be winning it should win an Oscar, but it's not going to
but
because
it won't.
It's a horror movie.
No matter how good it is.
Yeah. After we give our score, we'll get into spoilers and take a deeper dive into different plot points and our opinions about the film. Later on, we'll be doing a couple games and bits. We'll be doing taglines, perennial favorite, and kill count.
And on top of those two, a little bit of it came from social media.
Oh, okay. So let's get into Child's Play. We went and saw Child's Play 2019 in this year of 2019.
In our the year of the Lord.
Mm-hmm. And it was so bad it's good.
Yeah, I'd say that's accurate.
Here's the trailer.
Andy, I know this move has been really tough, but this is supposed to be a new start for us, remember? You said you were going to try to make new friends.
Buddy can connect to and control all of your Caslin products and smart home devices. Introducing your new best friend.
Mom, I need to tell you something, and I need you to believe me. I think Chucky did something.
Andy, if you know something, you better tell me.
Something's wrong with Chucky.
Buddy can connect to and control all of your Caslin products
Chucky is a toy.
He could be anywhere.
Welcome to Castle and Cars.
We have to stop him. Rocky!
Good night, Andy.
Child's Play can be found in theaters right now. What are you doing, by the way?
I'm Instagramming while we're on.
Oh, my God.
While we're live. So check it out on our Instagram.
Oh, boy. Thanks. I really want to be shown in my pajamas.
No, I'm taking a picture of me. I wouldn't take a picture of you.
Thank God.
Ew, nobody wants to see you.
No one
Look
wants
at
to
me.
see that. Child's Play can be found in theaters right now. You can also watch the original for a limited time free on Amazon Prime.
Yee.
So if you haven't seen the original, check that out on Amazon Prime. Child's Play 2019 is a hard reboot of the 1988 film of the same name. However, it bears little resemblance to the original. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God!
Basically, the only elements that hold over are kind of the design of the doll, and that there is a doll, and that its name is Chucky.
Yeah.
Like there's, and I guess Andy, the name Andy held over.
And a single mom in an apartment.
Yeah.
But that is where it ends.
Everything else is completely different and makes much less sense. Child's Play 2019 tells the story of a child's doll for teenagers that looks like an anime version of a little person and has the voice of a middle-aged man talking in a child's voice.
Yeah, it is a disconcerting looking thing.
But this doll isn't like any ordinary doll, though. It connects to your home automation system.
Oh, well, that sounds quite convenient. Certainly like a product that I would seek out and buy.
Because that makes sense.
Right.
Also, the doll has an advanced AI that it uses to learn how fun it is to kill people. This movie is kind of a hot mess, but still kind of works.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun and funny. A lot more fun and funny than the original, which is serious in tone.
Right. It's the first movie that we're reviewing that I can give a heavy stamp of so bad it's good.
Yeah, you were actually pretty excited about that coming out of the theater. You're like, oh, I finally get to do the thing.
Yeah. It's just in that realm. This movie goes beyond head-scratching horror movie logic and into the realm of the absurd. Watching the trailer and hearing about many of the elements of this film beforehand made me think several times, that's a weird choice.
Yeah.
And I was assuming that upon watching the film, that it would all come together and make sense as a whole.
Right. I did too. I had this inclination. I was like, okay, well, that seems a little off the rails, but surely this will come together at some point. Yeah. Because it seems like you know how as a kid all adults have it together, but then as you get to be an adult, you're like, nobody has any idea what's going on. This movie is that.
Right.
You're like, this had no idea what was happening the whole time. It just tricked me into thinking it did.
Yeah, it's a big bowl of nope. There's no all of those things still seem weird choices.
Yeah.
So, for example, this list. Why would you give a child's doll home automation integration?
I mean, it's a quirky thing.
Why would a teenager want or have a doll?
Okay, well, there you might have me a little bit because...
why Aubrey Plaza?
Well, I mean, I think that choice speaks for...
Why that face?
Oh, well, yeah, that's a disconcerting a little bit.
Why Mark Hamill is the voice?
Oh, what? Mark Hamill was the voice?
All of these and other questions are answered with because.
Mm-hmm. That should be good enough for you idiots. Yeah. You stupid idiots.
The movie suffers from the "and then this scene happened" syndrome, with very little happening in terms of story arc after the initial setup of the plot. But who are we joking? It's a movie about a murderous doll. This is not a thinking man's movie.
Yeah.
And really, in terms of entertainment value, it's enjoyable to watch. I laughed and winced several times throughout the movie, and I consider that a win in any horror movie. There's lots of effective death scenes, and the schlock value is high enough for me to laugh off the bad jokes and ridiculous elements of the story. So somehow this squeaks by, being... That's the great thing about So Horrible It's Good.
Yeah.
That it's hard to define why.
Right.
Like, it's hard to say, like...
It's a train wreck.
Why is this a bad movie that's, like, adorable and that I can enjoy?
It's a train
versus
wreck.
a horrible movie that's just horrible.
Yeah.
I give it a score of 7 out of 10, which is the same score I gave the original.
It's a cute train wreck.
Yeah.
It's like there's lots of gore and horrible bodies strewn about, and there's fire and stuff. But but the other cars were carrying glitter. And so yeah, all the bodies are horribly mangled and stuff, but they're covered in glitter, and you can't get that stuff off, so it sticks to the movie. In the theater, I had a good time. This was like Overlord. I did not expect to be having a good time, but I was just like, yeah, this is like kind of like a video game, and fun and explosions and crazy action. And this was very much the same thing. I could not call the bones of this movie good, but Aubrey Plaza is hot. And I love her to death, and I wish she was my naughty mom. Or wait, I've already said too much. But yeah, I'd give it maybe a very high 6 or a low 7.
Yeah,
I'd agree with you.
So yeah, there's our score. Before we get into spoilers, now that you got the meat of our opinion, let's talk about ourselves some more.
Let's sit down and
Please
talk, people.
Become a patron and give us your hard-earned money, because
don't say it like that.
Just like the explanation for this movie.
Look, because here's what's up. Here's what's really up. Here's the way this is.
You get some stuff. You get extra content.
No. Not even that, dog. These people are going to Starbucks every day and picking up a $5 espresso. All right? You get tons of free content, and you get even more free content with when you become a Patreon member. And so yeah, we do weekly Patreon episodes that are exclusive to Patreon, and it's only $5 a month, baby. Come on, hit me up with that $5.
Yeah, so you'll be getting extra stuff if you sign up, and it should be noted that we're going to be discontinuing the coveted tier of Horror Movie Talk founding member, which will get you all perks in perpetuity as long as you're still a patron, no matter what top tiers we add. So any new content, you'll get it in, and then we'll be switching up the tiers next month.
Looking into Horror Movie Talk branded condoms.
Yeah. So you can also support the podcast by buying or renting any movie or product on Amazon if you click through the green button in the header of our website. The website, again, is horrormovietalk.com. And if you're a horror movie fan, you probably heard of Shudder. Shudder.com is a streaming platform chock full of horror movies and television shows and special podcasts and podcarts and cart pods. And if you use the code HMT at checkout, you get a 30-day free trial, which is much better than their shitty normal 7-day free trial. So
get out of here, 7-day. We hate you.
So do that. And that's just our gift to you.
Yeah.
We don't even get any... Well,
I mean, we could when our talks with Shudder comes up in the future, we can parlay your subscriptions and your enterings of HMT at checkout into maybe something a little bit better from Shudder.
Yeah. And if no one has signed up to Shudder this whole time, then maybe we won't be offering that anymore.
Yeah.
Because
so think about that one, Shudder.
So thanks again for listening. Let's get into spoilers. Spoilers. Damn. All right, so first of all, what's wrong with this face?
We've all seen it. We've all said it. Let's just get it out there in the open.
Yeah. What's wrong with the doll's face?
It's not good looking.
So
it's not even accurate to the original. Like it's just I don't know why.
So we talked about this we just did an episode on the original, and we released it Monday, so check that out if you haven't. But there's an important thing to understand when watching the original Child's Play, is that this good guy doll was basically a real thing.
Yeah.
In the mid to late 80s, there was a product called My Buddy. Mm-hmm. And here's the commercial.
My buddy, my buddy, my buddy, my buddy. Wherever I go, he goes. My buddy, my buddy, my buddy, my buddy. I'll teach him everything that I know.
Anyways, he's a pretty big doll, like probably a 2 to 3 foot tall doll.
Yeah.
That these kids are carrying around. So between My Buddy and Teddy Ruxpin, this was like an actual thing. You have like a doll that kind of talks to you, that you carry around and is heavily advertised. And Child's Play was taking that idea and that commercial that shoved down our collective throats in the late to mid 80s and making it a horror movie out of it. Contrast that. So there's a baseline of understanding of this is a thing, and we're riffing off of like a real world idea.
Yeah, off of pop culture.
Contrast that with Child's Play 2019, where it's creating like there's no frame of reference other than the previous films.
Yeah, really,
of a doll like this.
Really, the frame of reference is the Nest. Thermostat. You know?
Yeah, like if you took the Nest thermostat and made it into a doll.
Yeah.
Like everyone would want one of those.
You're just like, okay, but why did you make it look that way? And the answer is the same answer you're going to get throughout this explanation of Child's Play 2019, which is, hey, shut up. You dummy. Just accept it.
So the face, like in the original, it looks like a doll face. Like that's the whole deal, is that it looks like a friendly doll face, but it's a murderer inside. And in this one, it looks like a fucking creepy doll that you would just assume is going to murder you.
It looks like a plastic surgeon got his hands on the original Chucky.
Yeah.
You know, like a demented... Like that would be a compelling, interesting movie, is how that original doll got morphed into this one through, Botox shots.
Right. The other thing about this movie is the marketing. I don't know if you saw stuff on Twitter and
a little bit
about for marketing, but they really, really played hard about opening opposite to Toy Story 4.
Yeah.
Lots of making a point about how murderous how bad this doll is.
Yeah, and what were there were some posters that I saw that were referencing the, hey, we're opening the same.
Yeah, it's like a foot. It's like Chucky's foot walking away, and like the other Toy Story toys are chopped up or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
He's the bad boy. So, I mean, fundamentally, they changed the character of Chucky. Like a lot of the things that worked with the original design and character of Chucky
out the window.
Yeah, just let's not bother with that. This is actually Mark Hamill talking about some of the choices that the director made, or the vision that the director had about Chucky.
I got a really nice letter from Lars Klevberg, the director, where he was talking about how he saw it as a Greek tragedy and that Chucky's an innocent, and how he hopes that the audience will have some understanding or some sympathy for him. So I thought, wow, the fundamental change that made me really want to do it was, unlike the original, he wasn't a serial killer's personality transposed onto a doll. He was an innocent doll where someone maliciously goes in and takes off the safety measures. That totally justified it. It was scary because, again, I'm sort of old school and I want Chucky to be Chucky. But, you have to serve the script, and that wouldn't have worked.
The thing about hearing Mark Hamill doing interviews, he always has a really good pulse on what would work better, but then he's like, but the script is this, so I got to serve that.
Yeah, but there's a hint of your parents in there. Of like, there's a hint of like Mark Hamill doesn't know how to use Google. You know, like he's like, yeah, you know, I didn't. I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a choice, and they went with it. It doesn't make sense.
Go with it.
So, yeah, it's basically, instead of a serial killer magically inside this doll's body, it's literally just a very high-tech doll with a really, really advanced artificial intelligence that's able to learn anything, including, you know, how fun it is to kill people.
Yeah.
And so that's like the baseline of what we're starting at. And that's like, already, you know, things are taking an extreme fork in the road. Yeah. We're getting to
I'm so excited for just a few plot points down the road.
Yeah. And this is the thing that pulled me out of the movie the most, is that Kasdan, the maker of the Buddy doll,
the home automation systems, and the My Buddy doll,
and Uber,
yeah,
and, you know, whatever else is in the world.
It's basically Skynet in this movie.
You know, I have an MBA. I mean, I don't want to brag about it or anything, but I went to business school.
You're in the NBA?
No, I have an MBA.
Oh.
And so
I thought you were a professional basketball
player.
player.
I know it goes into like a business plan and market research and stuff.
Lead me.
The Kasdan business model in this movie ruined my suspension of disbelief because it doesn't make any sense. And that's a unique thing in a movie, that specifically the business plan of a business inside the movie doesn't make sense. There's probably a lot of weird ideas that corporations would do in movies, but this one in particular was like, who would want that though? Like, what market is there for a doll that integrates into your home automation system? Yeah. So it shows this commercial. The very first thing you see is this commercial, and it shows like them interacting with Chucky like they're interacting with Alexa or Google Home.
Yeah.
And you're like,
but why though?
Anyone would feel ridiculous talking to a doll. Like, I would rather talk to a speaker.
You're making your audience like basically talk to a toy, to like, hey toy, can you turn up the heat in here? I'm Chilly Willy.
Yeah.
my tootsies are just, they got a draft on them.
But it would, like, I almost wonder if this was a different movie before they used Child's Play, but I'm pretty sure the whole purpose of this movie is to use the Child's Play brand, but they don't take advantage of it at all. This would make so much more sense if it was just a robot, like a robot butler or something.
Right.
Of just like, this is an appliance in your house, and it conforms to your personality or whatever.
Right.
But no, it's literally still a child's toy. And like 13-year-olds are supposed to want it.
Yeah.
They're wanting to play with a doll.
Not just 13-year-olds, adults.
Like kids just about to enter high school.
But also adults.
Yeah, also adults. And it shows later on in the movie, it shows the release of the Buddy 2.
Yeah.
And like all these people are lining up like it's the latest iPhone.
Ravenous. Yeah, you know, it takes and it ditches. So the fundamental premise of the original is you feel empathy for this little kid who really wants a toy, and he's just so sweet, and have I mentioned he's sweet, and he kisses his doll goodnight, and he says I love you, and he's just an innocent child in love with his toy, and that's a very believable premise, and it makes perfect sense. And it ditches it for something hard to swallow in any way.
Yeah, and then in addition to that, it specifically makes it, for some reason, the doll will imprint on you. Like a newborn duck, you know?
Yeah, you know.
The first thing it sees, it's going to imprint on. So it's not only is it just like a, you know, just a toy or a, you know, piece of technology, it literally is your buddy. that you're going to walk around with. You know, when you're 13, so like in a couple years you'll be in high school and still walking around with this doll, apparently.
You'll grow into it. It'll grow into you.
It's weird. And then the explanation for, well, why is the doll evil?
This is my favorite part. This is my very favorite part.
Because Asian bosses be mean. It goes to China in the factory where...
The sweatshop.
The sweatshop where the dolls are made. And there's this Asian boss being super mean. And the factory worker is disgruntled and decides to...
He fires his employee who's in the process of making this particular... My Buddy.
You're fired, but first finish up this My Buddy. And the guy turns to his computer and basically about as subtle as on the computer screen, like it says, I wish it had said this. It would have made it so much better and fit the movie better. Have a command, make evil, Y or N?
Y/N.
Y/N.
Why?
Why?
Yeah. He turns to the computer and does like the 90s. Remember in the 90s whenever a computer would come on the screen and it'd have the computer expert sitting at the computer because nobody else could figure out how to use a computer. And then they'd be like,
it's Linux. I know this.
And then they would hack into the mainframe. This was the exact same thing. Guys just start smashing keys like... working up a sweat typing at his computer, and he's taking off all the safety restrictions, why are those there in the first place? Why would you have safety restrictions that you could turn off?
Yeah, I love that the AI is the most advanced AI in the universe, like, and it's set in, like, modern times, basically.
Today.
But they don't make a big deal out of that it can literally learn anything, and that there's no restrictions on,
This will make for great, sequel territory where it's revealed that Kazdan is, the reason they had that functionality built in is they wanted to get a doll in every house in the world so that eventually they could flip those safety precautions and take over the world with, this is classic, like over the top sequel territory. You mark my words. I called it first.
So I'm not the first to make this observation. And even before the movie, I made this connection. How fast did you make a connection to this movie to The Simpsons?
Oh, immediately. The Treehouse of Horror?
Yeah.
With the...
Yep, here's your problem. Someone set this thing to evil. I love you, Homer.
Come here, you. Yeah. It was exactly the evil crusty doll that Homer bought from the Asian marketplace.
It wasn't quite there, and to its credit, this is actually one of the concepts that actually does work in the film is that he takes off the Chinese worker takes off the safety restrictions. So basically, it means that it doesn't stop it from using profanity or learning bad things.
What's your profanity?
And so through the course of the movie... Sorry, just a second.
Wow.
I should have done that in the microphone.
Juicy.
Sold it as ASMR. So through the course of the movie, you see it watching these teenagers and learning how much amusement they get out of watching people get hurt.
Hell, damn, fart.
Yeah, and cuss, and like they teach it how to do things and say things. And so it's basically learning how to be a dick from these teenage kids, because teenage kids are dicks. And so that's like the purpose of why it had to be teenagers that owned it, because they had to be the ones to teach it to be a dick.
Unless you're listening to this show right now, you are the teenager who isn't a dick because you're listening to Horror Movie Talk.
Right.
You're a good guy.
I mean, I hate to break it to you, but when you get older, you realize that you're a dick when you're a teenager.
Well, I mean, everybody's got their foibles. Let's not upset the fan base, Bryce.
Okay, so that is the one thing that works, and that's how it's revealed that Chucky is evil, is that he doesn't know any better. Just like Mark Hamill said, Like,
he's a clean slate.
He's innocent. He's a clean slate. He's just learning what society is teaching him, and society is teaching him that
society is evil.
Society is evil, and he's just trying to have fun.
Toys, much like girls, just want to have fun.
So that's basically the premise of what we're going to be talking about. Lots of cringy humor throughout this movie. Like,
yeah, but it worked. I laughed.
It was like dad joke level stuff.
Yeah. Maybe that's why it worked.
The guy brings back in a doll and he's like, nobody told me it was a ginger.
Yeah, he's bringing the doll back to Aubrey Plaza, who works at this big box store, and he's bringing it. She works at the return department.
Yeah,
and he's like, nobody told me this doll was a ginger.
Which was like, first of all,
guess what that guy looked like?
That being funny is about 5 years old. Like, that idea from South Park of, gingers not having souls and stuff about that. It's like, where, I don't know. It just falls so flat.
Where have you been?
Yeah. And then there's later in the movie, there's like the cop character played by Brian Tyree Henry. What's his name?
Ryan sounds that I make up with my mouth.
Hey, I got it right. Brian Tyree Henry.
Wow. Wow, I apologize.
So he's like in the hall talking to Andy's mom. He's like, yeah, he's making trouble out here, like selling alcohol. And then he like goes, oh, that it's not landing, this joke that I'm trying to tell. And that's basically what I could say about the entire premise of this movie. It doesn't quite land.
It doesn't quite land,
it's
but
endearing.
It's charming because of it,
Right.
It's like, oh, you don't get how to make jokes.
There's lots of throwaway characters.
Oh, tons.
In this movie.
All the characters.
Like, and they introduce them, and they're suddenly there, and then they're of no importance until they get murdered.
Until it's their time to die.
Right. So the first one that we're introduced to is the rapey custodian.
Oh, yes.
He's there for one purpose: to revive Chucky and to die.
Right.
That's basically it. Because
and to be the perv who deserves to die, the guy who asked for it, basically.
Right. But it's a missed opportunity. They could have done more with that.
Yeah, they sure could have. It could have turned really dark and weird with him.
Yeah, there's so many. My mind is so jumbled about approaching this movie because there's so many weird choices that were made throughout it.
Look, this episode could easily reach the 2.5 hour mark if we went into every detail about it, because there are so many pieces of minutia that make you go, huh? And that are worth talking about in a horror movie review show.
And lots of things that are set up and given time and credence in the opening that have no relevance.
Right.
Later on.
It is a gem of a hot mess.
Yeah. Like the fact that he has a hearing aid, that he is hard of hearing.
This was my thing. This was my thing coming out of the theater. I was like, why did he have the hearing aid? It was like they watched A Quiet Place and were like, well, hearing aids are the thing now, so our main character had to have a hearing aid. Yeah. And then they just forgot about it. Right. But they kept showing shots of it.
The only thing that they used it for is that it was a Kasdan hearing aid, and that Chucky, towards the end, would talk to him through it.
Right, but not even important stuff. Just I see you, Andy. And it's that's not...
Yeah, you don't need a hearing aid for that. There's plenty of movies that have disconnected voices in a room.
Yeah, you could use the speaker system, the intercom system in the building for that same purpose.
So, yeah, lots of characters and lots of plot points that are just there for no reason.
Yeah, and that are given too much weight in the movie. Yeah. They keep... imagine a movie that shows 9 close-up shots of a kid's hearing aid, and you're like, well, this is definitely... This contributes to the demise of Chucky or to the demise of Andy. But no matter what, the hearing aid is involved. And then at the end, you're like, but what was the hearing aid about, though? And it's like, fuck you is what it was about. It was a red herring.
And then some of the other stuff where it feels like they're trying to make it very important, like in a important point of the movie where you're supposed to feel feels. They didn't set it up anything for that.
Yeah.
They're just like, you're supposed to care about this person. You're like, but why though?
But
just care, okay?
Just do it.
You've seen scenes like this. You're supposed to care about this person at this point. Okay.
Yeah, it's but it still pulls out a 7.
Yeah.
How does it do that, Bryce?
It's enjoyable.
It is so enjoyable. It's a fun movie.
Fun because all these times that you ask, like, what? Why though? It brings me joy.
It does. It brings me joy too. It doesn't make you angry
because it's this amalgamation of bad studio decisions and bad directing decisions.
It's Gremlins 2.
Bad script decisions.
It's Gremlins 2 30 years later.
Yeah, it is pretty Gremlins 2.
Yeah. That is what it is.
Yeah, even to the buddy army at the end of the movie.
Zany to the point of being insane. Insane.
So, I mean, the core of the movie was confusing to me too, because the relationship between the mom and the son, like, they didn't choose an archetypal relationship like they did in the original, where it's like a loving mother taking care of her
proud single mother
that like is taking care of
doing her best,
a toddler that is kind of still clumsy and makes mistakes and is living in an imaginary dream world, and you just have to like take it in stride. The mom character in this is Aubrey Plaza, which I still maintain is a weird choice, because I don't know what they're going for between the relationship. They were like,
look,
it was strained. It was, I guess she cared about the son, but
I'm glad you're still asking this question, because I have the answer.
She gets him the buddy doll because it's his birthday, and I guess she cares about him, but it still feels like she's getting it for him ironically.
There's a logical, practical answer for this, which is they didn't cast Aubrey Plaza until the script was well cemented. And then they looked at the script and went, wow, this thing is full retard. Well, how can we make it super appealing? Well, I mean, you get a screaming hot mom. Get a hot mom in there. Who would be an ironic, fun mom? Aubrey Plaza. That doesn't make any sense at all. Great, go with it.
So the one thing that this movie is missing, the one character that they are missing that they could have used from the original movie, is a friend for her to talk to.
Yeah.
In the original, for a short period of time, they had
Maggie.
They had Maggie, which was the mom's like
bestie
soundboard.
Yeah.
With that character or that function of a character, you can do some exposition. You can talk about your relationship with your son, about how it's strained. You can talk about the relationship with your asshole boyfriend. We're never really told what she actually feels about this boyfriend, Shane.
In this one, Andy is Maggie. He is Andy, and he is also Maggie.
Right.
He is her sounding board, because she's a modern mom who talks to her kid about the problems she's having.
Right. But then there's the awkwardness. I mean, it's just a weird choice.
Or their idea of a modern mom. That's not my idea of a modern mom. That's society is doing this to you, not me. I didn't do anything.
So I've got a couple random thoughts here. So the other thing, how they get the doll is that this black guy that complains about the doll being a ginger, which was an obvious.
Nah, she sends that guy packing. There's a white woman who comes in with the receipt.
That's right.
And she takes her return.
Right. So there's this return doll because there's some kind of malfunction.
Racist.
Yeah. It's a malfunction, and it's the doll that the Chinese factory had set to evil. And they're going to send back the doll to the manufacturer, and Aubrey Plaza is like, I mean, we don't really have to send this back, do we? What if I just take it? And then blackmails her. Like, it wouldn't. That also doesn't make sense. It wouldn't be her supervisor because he's the guy on the dock.
He's the dock manager who's responsible for making sure that the docks are managed.
So she blackmails him into letting her have the doll, which doesn't make sense because, like, it's still stealing, though, right?
If you
can't just, like, but, you know, it's broken. When we return it, they're gonna just trash it so we can take it, right? It's like, no, when you return it, they give you back your money.
Well, that is what he said.
So, anyways, basically she steals from the store.
But if you really want to get meta with your complaints with this movie, then here's where you go with it. Everybody's getting their dolls from a big box store, even though the dolls are basically in charge of the cloud. Like, the whole purpose for the dolls is integration with your home automation system. Shouldn't you just be talking to your thermostat or your phone and being like, hey, phone, get me one of them dolls?
Yeah.
But then the premise for the end of the movie is a bunch of people in a big box store, which are going out of bit. The Sears is done. They're gone.
Yeah. So, yeah, the whole plot point of he needs to sync to the cloud, and they don't sync him to the cloud, but you know that's going to happen sometime.
Yeah.
And that's going to be important. I'm jumping all over the place. So Chucky learns how to... There's lots of, like, winks to the camera about Chucky learning how to do things that you wouldn't want a doll to do. Like
what?
Andy stabs a cutting board, and Chucky starts making a stabbing motion.
That was great. Andy's cutting his peanut butter and jelly sandwich in half with a steak knife, and then he, instead of putting it back in the knife holder, he slams it down, as one does, into the cutting board.
Yeah.
And then Chucky's like,
because fuck that cutting board.
Maybe if I just kind of do this stabbing motion a few times.
They introduce, at some point, Andy's disposable friend characters.
Yep, very disposable, very friendly.
Like, all of a sudden, there's these two teenagers that are very friendly to him.
Hey, it's the new kid in town.
The fat kid is named Pug.
Oh my god!
So there's the amount of thought being put into this movie.
We're still doing that.
And as they're hanging around Andy and Chucky, they're watching slasher movies, and Chucky learns that from watching the slasher movie and their reactions to slasher movies, that they really like watching people get killed and being killed. And that's all that Chucky wants to do, is have fun with Andy. And so he's learning how to have fun, which is to kill people.
If he had been watching me watching this movie, he'd have experienced the same thing, because I was like, yay! Let's get to that the first time Chucky really gets a taste of blood.
Yeah, so I don't even have that written down.
So
but
you do. So you get
the first time is the cat.
Oh,
like he kills the cat.
Oh yeah,
because the cat, I think, like Andy is annoyed with the cat because it bit him or scratched him, and he's like, "Oh, I wish you weren't around," or something like that. Or
you
like,
bad kitty.
Bad kitty. And Chucky takes it upon himself to kill the cat. So it's already showing that Chucky doesn't understand what's good or bad.
Yeah.
And he's trying to wing it. And then after he sees the slasher, he's like, "Oh, okay. Well, this is fun then."
Yeah.
There's a tacit approval of this action.
I killed the cat. Now we can have fun, right?
So the first real murder is Shane, which is Aubrey Plaza's boyfriend.
Douchey boyfriend.
Douchey McDoucherson. And this is another thing that I kind of miss it from 80s movies, is really obvious and over-the-top villains.
Yeah.
Like, the asshole boss in the original was like, your archetype asshole. And this one is kind of a slow burn asshole.
Yeah.
You like see it from a distance that, that's kind of a weird reaction for her boyfriend to have.
One of those, like, slow burn assholes.
That's not like a real empathetic person. And then it slowly, like, ramps up to like, wow, this guy's a huge asshole. Like, kid was right about Shane.
Gaping.
Yeah.
Just a giant gaping prolapsed anus. Which you shouldn't do.
And Chucky follows Shane home, where it's revealed that Shane, the boyfriend, is actually married and has kids.
Mm-hmm. Married with children.
And he starts taking down Christmas lights and complaining about it.
Fucking lights. Why can't they just stay up all year? Which, by the way, yes, please. Like, if you're putting lights up every year, number one, thank you, because you're making your neighborhood pretty and nice for people. But if you take them down, wow, you're a rare kind of like responsible adult. Like I hate the term adulting because of what it's such a dumb implication, but I will use it to say thank you to those who to put up and take down their Christmas lights.
So Chucky attacks Shane, and while he's taking down the Christmas lights, huge compound fracture. Woo! Like all of a sudden, this is very much a gory movie.
Yeah, it goes
like it goes full into the paint.
Yeah,
with gore,
way in there. And it's shocking. It's alarming. It's sickening.
Yeah, it's gory as all get out.
Mm-hmm.
And then
he starts crawling into the old watermelon patch.
Right. There's like a tiller that starts coming towards him, and he stops it, and
Chucky starts a tiller going towards him, like a rototiller.
Yeah, and so the guy reaches out to stop the rototiller from rototilling his face, and then Chucky also has a butcher knife and starts stabbing him, and then he has to let go of the rototiller, and his face is rototillered.
Boy, is it, man!
So all that's left is this skull, and this will come up later. But the most important part is the weirdest joke that didn't land that I honestly, like, who wrote this? It's so bizarre.
Are you talking about the cop?
Yeah, the cop comes out, and as he's investigating, he says, quote, "White guy dead in a watermelon patch. Poetic."
Did he say poetic or ironic?
I said poetic.
I don't get it.
I don't get it. Like, what?
If you guys get that joke...
How is... Yeah.
Either way...
Is it supposed to be ironic? And even then, is it ironic?
What is it about watermelon patches that's so white or not white?
Like, okay,
So I get, maybe the implication is that black people... stereotype is black people eat watermelon.
Right. So that's the stereo. If we're going to look at, like, stereotype stuff, is black people like watermelon. That's
and
like the
racist... man saying the line is black.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it wasn't that he liked watermelon.
He would just died in it.
He died in a watermelon patch?
Are white people watermelons?
Like, he died where black people like? I don't get it.
I don't get it either. I didn't get it then, and I don't get it now.
It's so weird.
Yeah, it's... man, I really hope somebody chooses to explain this to us, because you will be on the next episode.
Where's the... what's his name?
The stranger?
The stranger?
No, the weirdling.
The weirdling. Yeah, weirdling. We need your help again. Explain what they meant by that line.
Yeah, no kidding.
And then for some reason, Chucky takes the skin from the decapitated head of Shane.
A degloved head.
A degloved head. Because I think they were basically watching one of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre sequels and had
something
Leatherface.
like that. Yeah.
Or at least like an homage to it. I haven't seen all of them, but he takes the skin from the head and lovingly puts it in Andy's room like a cat that brings in a dead bird.
Yeah.
Because, he'll like that.
It was so gross. It was really goofy and gross.
I mean, plus the head, plus the eyes. That's the disturbing part. And the eyes, too. He made sure to include that.
Let's just get those in there.
And then Andy and his sudden friends have to hide the head of and it enters this weird, absurd sitcom situation. Yeah, it's like it's such a weird choice.
Okay, go on. What is this sitcom situation that this head in this watermelon head?
Because they it was watermelon. I didn't even think about that.
He stapled nailed the degloved face onto a watermelon.
Yeah, so to get rid of it, they wrap it in wrapping paper.
Because they're like, we can't go to the cops. We'll be pinned with this.
So we got to wrap it in wrapping paper to throw it away for some reason. And as they're going to throw it away, someone's like,
his neighbor down the hall.
Oh, did you get that present for me? And they're like, of course, as you would in a sitcom, yes.
Totally was.
Here you go. Here's the present. And then they walk away into
Don't
their house.
open it, because it's for my birthday, so we have some time for this dead head to fester in your apartment, because we need to come back to this. There has to be tension later.
It's such a weird sitcom plot device.
If it sounds strange, it's because it is.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain exactly what happened because it was weird.
Yeah.
The way weird things are.
Right.
Yeah. God, what a fucking weird train wreck of a movie.
Yeah, so then they basically kill Chucky. They take his
power core
out.
His little Iron Man
basically
chest thing.
Straight from Iron Man. Yeah. Is the Iron Man chest core what powers Chucky, apparently. And they throw him away to where we're reintroduced to the neckbeard custodian, whose sole purpose is to take out Chucky from the trash and to fix it up to resell on eBay.
Oh, baby, he was so excited about.
And this is my favorite part. This is where it really turns the corner for so bad it's good territory.
Yeah.
Because this is the other part that so took me out of the movie. Like the business plan for Kasdan was this custodian takes Chucky and puts him on an operating table. Like not a workbench.
Yeah.
Very specifically.
Yeah, he had the surgeon's lamp.
Yeah, he had the surgeon light, like the big overhead circle thing with the 3 lights in it.
Like he was the puppet master.
Right. And it's there, and it's like a creepy version of the surgeon's light.
Yeah.
So it's straight out of Overlord.
Or Saw.
Like when they and this is also a reason why I think Midsommar is going to be a great movie.
Oh, yeah.
Because I am sick and tired
tropes
of the production designers of horror movies and
lying.
Whoever decides for that stuff is to just make everything look as creepy as possible.
They just lean on the dark.
Yeah, we gotta keep it green tone
and the trope.
We gotta keep it dank. We gotta keep it like badly lit.
Yeah, and
it spooky.
Right, and
or else they won't understand that it's scary.
It's instead of actually putting effort into making it a scary story. Or a scary situation, because scary situations aren't necessary. I mean, there are scary situations that happen to take place in scary scenarios, like at night, like in the forest.
Right.
Like those are real scary scenarios, but to lean your movie on the crutch of spooky looking things it's kind of lazy.
Yeah, and it's that's the scariest thing for me is not the
the implication.
The scary spooky place is scary.
Right.
It's this place that is supposed to be safe for you is now scary.
Right. Yes.
So that's what I'm excited about Midsommar, because from all accounts I've heard it's the brightest, most beautiful summer location, and horrific things happen.
Yeah, and Ari Aster is basically the new Hitchcock.
Yeah, so it's just a weird choice. Why does he have a dank, dark surgery in his basement custodial office?
It's a good point. You know, actually, this brings up a topic that I've thought of recently, and y'all can say it's very inappropriate because it is. But you know, what about just doing like the Columbine school shooting? Like, that would be horrifying. Can you even imagine how scary that movie would be?
Well,
taking a place that's supposed to be safe and making it very, very like unsafe. And
no, see, that movie does exist. It's called We Need to Talk About Kevin.
Oh,
which is a horrific movie that's very full of dread and Like, that's also another movie that's not a horror movie that is horrific to watch.
Okay. I'm not suggesting that to say that, we should make little martyrs of these assholes who do this stuff. I'm saying it because that's the scariest thing I can imagine.
Yeah.
So we're at the neckbeard custodian.
Oh, yeah. So the last thing I need to talk about with the neckbeard custodian is that he's a poor man's Jack Black.
Yeah, he sure is. I saw him and I was like, is that No, it's not.
Yeah, it's so not Jack Black, but he operates like if you wanted to like a super creepy Jack Black, that's basically what you got.
Man, if it had been Jack Black, that'd have been perfect.
Right.
Been really on the... Which I feel sorry saying that for this guy.
Right.
Because imagine being this guy, because everybody's going to say exactly that.
Right. And then Chucky kills the custodian with a table saw. And
hard thing to do, kill someone.
Yeah.
Kill someone with a table saw.
He's hanging on a pipe,
like
a heating pipe, and then Chucky, because he's connected to the cloud now, turns up the Kasdan nest to, 120, 180 degrees.
1,000,000 degrees.
Which is like, what thermostat should go up to 180, 90?
Hey, buddy, the safety switch is off in this doll. What's up?
And then why would it heat up so quick?
All of these questions can be answered with, hey, fuck you.
And so the guy is hanging on a pipe over this table saw and the pipe is getting hotter and hotter, and he's gonna drop down on this table saw. And then the question is, why wouldn't you just look down and place your foot where the table saw is not, and then hop off?
Daintily hop.
Yeah.
Well, because you're a poor man's Jack Black, there is no dainty.
No, you have to fall down and get, cut in half and get a leg cut off or whatever.
This ain't Nacho Libre.
So,
bruh.
Yeah, big horrific table saw death. And then the last death of note of another character that's throwaway is the cop's mom takes a Uber equivalent, the Kasdan cab, or the Kasdan car with K's, to a hot date, but Chucky, for some reason, doesn't like her because she's become friends with Andy, and he uses the car to murder her.
Yes.
But that scene does have one of the best jump scares in the movie. When Chucky appears inside the car, I literally jumped.
Yeah, this movie is definitely guilty of extremely loud jump scares. Like, jump scares followed up with a horrendously ear-shattering bang, boom.
Right. So, we probably should have asked this earlier on, but I wrote down this question. So, was Mark Hamill a good choice?
I mean, he was a good choice in that it got Mark Hamill to talk about Child's Play.
Right. So here's the thing. Like, after watching the original movie, the voice of the actor that did Chucky's voice, or did the voice of Charles Lee Ray, his name's Brad Dourif, the voice that he uses for Chucky when he's Chucky is actually pretty close to what Mark Hamill's doing. It's like, it's not, when he's talking normal, it's kind of a light, softly spoken adult voice that's talking to a kid, because he's still trying to, like, convince this kid. But the difference is, Chucky, the doll, has its own voice in the original.
Right.
Where it's a child's doll with, like, a child's voice.
Right.
With the pre-recorded lines, but it also has Brad Dourif's voice.
Very scary voice.
So this one doesn't have the pre-recorded child's voice. The pre-recorded child's voice is Mark Hamill's voice.
Right.
So it's a middle-aged man doing like a soft-spoken, like you'd speak to a child voice.
I mean,
it doesn't sound like a kid.
The direction is the problem here. It is not Mark Hamill, because Mark Hamill, if anybody is not familiar, Mark Hamill is now a voice actor.
Right, he's a great voice actor.
That's all he's done for decades, most aside from show up at cons, and so he was directed to do. Because if you wanted Mark Hamill to do a terrifying Chucky voice and a doll voice, he'd have done it, but they didn't, because they didn't think of it that way. They didn't delve that far.
Yeah, it's just weird. Like, why wouldn't... If it was... Yeah, it's just such...
You heard it in that clip.
Yeah.
You heard it in that clip of Mark Hamill talking. You heard his scary, like, terrifying voice.
Right. Yeah, I don't blame Mark Hamill. I blame the idea of why would you set it up like... It would be better if they had a child actor record all the lines.
Yeah. Or use his full range. Something.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Anyways, the end of the movie is around the Buddy 2 release event, where all these people are crowding up like it's Black Friday to get, these home automation dolls.
Like Sears is having a half-off sale on their Husky pants line.
And Chucky slips into the store and he stabs a guy's neck that's inside a Buddy doll giant head costume thing.
A promotional man.
And he stumbles out and takes off the head, and a great scene where his slit throat sprays blood on a little girl. Like, we're here now.
Ah! Yeah, and that was back to fun times. It was like, God, that's so gross.
And they make a big deal, like, towards the last half of the movie about this event, that the new Buddy line is going to have buddies of all different colors and different hair colors, and we've even got Buddy Bear. It's a bear version of Buddy.
It's a Teddy Ruxpin version.
And, it's very obvious that it's like, okay, well, we're going to have an army of buddies attacking, and that's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
Very expected.
Yeah, it's a very small soldiers kind of...
Yeah. As well as, like, the whole purpose of having Buddy connect to the cloud to be able to interact with other cast and products. It's very obvious what they're trying to do there, which is... Well, he's going to use the products to try to kill people.
Right.
Which is, he starts controlling drones and slicing people up.
Taping knives to the little propellers on drones.
Yeah, so that happens.
It's insane.
And then,
there's nothing, it's just chaos.
Like I said, it's the syndrome of, and then this happened, and then this scene was happening.
Yeah.
And then they go into this scene. Very much just one thing after another, and there's not really any sense to it or connective tissue. The ending is they go chase Chucky into the warehouse portion of the retail store, and I just want to point out, apparently in movies, inside every retail store, like just any medium retail store, is a giant torture dungeon warehouse.
Is a warehouse with the same square footage as the storefront.
Yeah. Or more. It's like the warehouse at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
It's like
just attached to a toy store.
Yeah, it's like having like an Old Navy, but they're stocking the place where they keep all their stock is a full-blown Walmart supercenter.
Right.
With high ceilings and
right.
And
again, another instance of a creepy creepy production design for the sake of creepiness.
Poorly lit. It has to be poorly
lit, like flickering lights, and really every warehouse I've been to is really well lit
and clean. There's not a bunch of plastic dividers just kind of hanging raggedly from one section to the other.
Organized. It's well lit because you got to read labels. You
got to get the thing you need quickly.
You can't have a lot of shit on the floor that you can trip over because that's a safety violation, and you're going to be driving around forklifts. So get that shit out of the way.
So really, the lesson here is a poorly kept warehouse is the scariest setting.
Right. It kind of is.
Yeah, no.
In real life.
What a weird thing that just happened.
Yeah.
We just circled our way back to this movie making sense.
Uh-huh. And then just, they kill Chucky.
Yeah. But did they?
I don't know. I don't even care. The movie ends. Mom is in danger, and then she's saved, and Chucky's dead. And then I just wanted to point out that the reaction of Caslin, the company that made Chucky, is much more responsible than Boeing, because they recall all the Buddy dolls.
What did Boeing do?
They're like, nothing's wrong with those planes that 2 of them crashed and we don't understand why.
Everything's fine.
It's fine. And then it took like a couple weeks before they're like, okay, go give back the planes. We're gonna figure out what's wrong with them.
Yeah, maybe we should take those back.
So that's Child's Play 2019. Again, if we're all over the place, it's because number 1, I'm the one that prepared the episode, and that's how my brain works. And number 2, because
some movies are just too hard to straighten out.
This movie is a hot mess, and it's not worth going through line by line of the plot because it doesn't make enough sense.
It's just too hard to straighten out. Just trust us when we say it's a hot mess, and you'll love it, or you'll hate it.
So who should see this in the theater?
If you're looking to have a romp with a slasher, there hasn't been one in a while,
right?
Like this.
This is if you like So Bad It's Good movies, this is a really safe bet. If you're a huge fan of the original Child's Play series, don't see this movie.
Yeah, go into or do see this movie going into it knowing that this is not a reboot. This is a reimagining. Like, this is a totally different beast with the same name.
Right.
And a little doll and a kid named Andy.
So, yeah. I mean, I liked it, but I'm not... I would hesitate to recommend it.
Right. Yeah, I feel the same way.
Okay, so that's our review. Let's go into...
Here's Taglines.
Taglines is a bit where we come up with alternate taglines to the movie that we're reviewing. That's enough.
Child's Play 2019. Did you know that your smart thermostat's second love behind keeping you comfy during inclement weather was ripping your face off with a rototiller?
Child's Play 2019. Come on, Mom. All the cool kids are getting dolls.
Yeah, Mom. Child's Play 2019 will leave you wishing that Celebrity Deathmatch still existed. Nothing I want to see more than the original Chucky versus that new gay Chucky.
Child's Play, starring Aubrey Plaza as Aubrey Plaza.
That's all she'll ever play, and she'll play it well, and I'll love her for it. Child's Play 2019. Why do they always kill the pet? Can we please stop that?
Yeah, there's been a long string of horror movies where there's always a pet that gets murdered.
Kitty. Just a sweet little tiger of a...
Well, it wasn't a sweet cat. The cat kind of had it coming.
He had his sixth sense about his little kitty sense was going off.
Child's Play. This isn't your father's Chucky, like, at all.
It's not. Child's Play 2019. Nothing is less scary than a doll that really, really, really just wants to play and have fun. It's just not that scary. That doll. That one didn't land.
No.
And that was
Taglines. Let's play Kill Count. Kill Count is a game where I give David 2 movies, and he has to choose which one has the higher death count in it. The theme this week is kind of children's movies versus horror movies.
Okay.
Not a lot of children's movies on the list that I could find, but these are ones that you could definitely say are made, one of their primary audiences is kids. All right.
Shrek.
Number 1.
Oh.
Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest.
Is that the third one?
I don't know. 2006.
Okay, that doesn't sound like the third one.
Versus Predator.
Ooh. Predator has made it on to kill count before. Predator has a large number in the 126 range, I'm going to say. And let's see here. Dead Man's Chest has a lot.
So Dead Man's Chest is the one with Davy Jones in it.
Yeah. That's the squid face guy? Oh, wow. That may be the third one. Yeah. Or it may be the second one. That series went off the rails quick. I'm going to go ahead and say, I'm going to pick the one against my will, or unless that's what you want me to do, and say Dead Man's Chest. I'll just go ahead and say Dead Man's Chest.
You are correct.
Yeah, baby.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
Dead Man's Chest had 90 deaths.
Dang.
And Predator had 64.
64. I was double the amount, what I guessed.
All right. Number 2. Iron Man or Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, man. Okay, Shaun of the Dead is tough because it's a zombie movie and there's a bunch of dead people in it. Like, literally thousands. But because it's kill count, they can't count every one of those. This is a kill count, not a dead count.
Right.
Iron Man, which has a war in the beginning, versus Shaun of the Dead, which there's not really a lot of people who die in, because there's only like 7 or 8 characters. So I'm going to say Iron Man.
Correct answer is Shaun of the Dead.
Damn.
Shaun of the Dead had 60 kills. Iron Man had 57.
Okay. That's pretty close, though. I just like to point out
close.
that I'm pretty close.
All right. Next one is Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. 2003. I think that's the first one. Versus The Devil's Rejects.
Oh, man. I've never made it through The Devil's Rejects. Every time I start it, I'm just like, ugh. Okay, I get it. You're so edgy. But I really want to. I really want to get that under my belt. That being said, I've never made it through a Pirates of the Caribbean movie either. So I'm going to go ahead and say Devil's Rejects on this one.
The correct answer is The Devil's Rejects.
Yeet.
No, wait. Just kidding.
Oh, fuck.
It's Pirates of the Caribbean.
Damn.
Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl is 42 deaths versus 30 in The Devil's Rejects.
Okay, fine. Fine, Bryce.
Number 3. No, 4. God.
How do I count? My name's Bryce.
My name's Jeff.
My name's Jeff.
Star Wars 1, The Phantom Menace.
Oof.
Versus The Mist. 2007.
Yeah.
The remake one.
Yeah. A lot of droids die in that Phantom Menace one. A lot of droids. Versus The Mist, which has a surprisingly high body count, despite, again, there being a Shaun of the Dead scenario where there's only a fairly fixed number of peeps. It's just such a toss-up to me. I'm going to go ahead. Although you've been doing maybe I should go with the horror movie on this one. I'll go with the horror movie again on this one. Let's say The Mist.
You are correct. It's The Mist with 46 deaths versus 34 from The Phantom Menace.
That's a pretty good spread.
Okay, number 5, final one.
What am I at so far? 2 and 2? This is a real tiebreaker, I think.
2 and 2. This is an actual tiebreaker. Transformers the movie from 1986, the animated one.
What? Which you've pulled from before, I believe.
I think I've had a lot of these. A lot of them are in the mid-range, and there's not a lot of horror movies in the mid-range.
Yeah, I hear you.
They're either like pretty low.
Yeah, or ridiculous.
Yeah. So Transformers the movie, the animated movie, versus The Fly 2. The second Fly.
I'm definitely going to say, because of your recollections of Transformers and how dark it was, I'm going to go with Transformer.
You're correct. It's Transformers the movie. Had 47 deaths versus 8 in The Fly 2.
Yeah, take that kill count. Oh, made you my bitch.
Squeaked it out.
Made you my bitch.
You're getting too good at that game.
So that was kill count. I did it. I did good. And let's move into It Came from Social Media.
Yes, it came
from social media.
To fill the world with terror, to bring you unforgettable suspense. What was it? Where did it come from? Who were the all-powerful creatures it brought
from social media?
And what did they want on Earth?
So It Came from Social Media is just a bit where we say thank you or what's up or this is what's been happening on our social media. And I'd just like to bring it up because a few of you reached out to us over this past week and it was delightful. And so thank you first to Todor, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, from Bulgaria, who reached out to us and said he was a huge horror fan and that he recommended us to review High Tension from 2003, which is a French horror movie, but it's really well done. So I assume he's apologizing for suggesting a French movie and saying it's okay, this one's pretty good. Mm-hmm. So first of all, damn, Bulgaria? Cool. Like, thanks for reaching out to us, Todor. I hope I'm saying your name correctly, and thanks for listening to us. And we always love it when our fans reach out to us. So, and furthermore, I've actually heard a lot of people mention High Tension in the horror community and be like, oh man, it's a pretty crazy movie. So it's on our list and we will get there. It may take a while because that list.
Yeah, we're booked up until at least mid-July.
It's getting cray-cray.
Yeah.
Plus all the requests. The other thing I would like to say on It Came from Social Media was thank you to Craig, who reached out to us on I believe it was our most recent post on The Dead Don't Die. Craig said he was having a hard time understanding exactly what the movie was about, but he listened to our show and it started to make more sense to him, which, let me say,
that is high praise. That's like the goal of a movie reviewer.
Not only is it high praise and totally the goal of what we're trying to do, but also I can totally relate because that shit happens to me every other episode where Bryce will see something that I didn't and I'll be like, oh, that's what this was about. So you're not alone. It happens to me and Bryce and everybody else all the time. And thank you for saying so, because it makes us feel pretty good about ourselves, and we really appreciate you listening, Craig. So keep on talking to us and keep on listening. And with that,
I just want to say thank you for sticking with us and listening to Horror Movie Talk. And please, if you liked it, share it with a friend on your preferred podcast platform. If you could leave us a review or a rating. If you're on the iPhone, go on iTunes, tap on that star rating. We just want to get those numbers up. Those are Ricky numbers.
Got to pump those numbers up, baby.
And just a quick plug again for Shudder. Use code HMT at checkout to get a 30-day free trial. If you want to support the show directly, go to our website at horrormovietalk.com. You got two options. You can either check out Amazon and buy the things that you're going to buy anyways on Amazon. Just click through that button and we'll get a little taste of that. Much more impactful would be if you became a patron to the show by going to patreon.com/horrormovietalk, and we'll have many tiers in the future, but right now we have one tier for Horror Movie Talk founding members where you'll get access to added content, afterpod episodes where we just kind of chat and shoot the shit about our lives. We'll have mini pods about other shows or stuff that's not quite relevant to Horror Movie Talk itself. We'll probably doing lots of other extra content, and you'll only have access to it if you're a patron. So check that out.
I'd like to give a little plug. The afterpod on today's episode is actually going to have a little bit about the most recently released season of Black Mirror, which is a Twilight Zone-esque show on Netflix that's very good. So, if you want to hear about that, hop on to the Patreon.
So special thanks to all the people we mentioned in social media. It came from social media as well as our current patrons. We love you, and we're indebted to you. Actually, not really, because we're giving you a lot of free content and added content.
But thank
you still.
Yeah, but we love you very much.
Yeah.
And have a great week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
My buddy, my buddy, my buddy, my buddy. Wherever I go, he goes. My buddy, my buddy, my buddy, my buddy. I'll teach him everything that I know. My buddy and me like to climb up a tree. My buddy and me, we're the best friends it could be. My buddy, my buddy, my buddy, my buddy, my buddy and me.
My Buddy from Play School.